are in a place where it is safe, appropriate, and comfortable for you, please close your eyes and begin to take some nice, slow, long, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel more light and peace entering your body and mind. With every exhale, feel like you're able to let go of all tension in your body, along with anything you do not want in your mind. Inhaling light and peace, exhaling as you let go completely. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain, in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of this sacred grove, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and this grove up with a sacred golden light. We recognize that this is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and it easily, safely, and efficiently burns away everything that is not like itself, leaving us safe and serene. Into this sacred space, we invoke the presence of our Creator. To many of us, our Creator reveals themselves to be a mother and father, a god and goddess. Into this sacred space, we also invoke the presence of our angels, our teachers, and our guides. We ask that they join with us as we dedicate this time that we spend together to one another and to them. We ask that we be guided and led as we walk upon the way, becoming happier, more successful, more prosperous, more healthy, wiser, and more loving people. Thank you very much. Blessed be. I got a comment on a post, I think, on YouTube, or maybe it was on a video, I can't remember. This person said, I've decided to give up magic because nothing you say ever works. I remember thinking, I am so glad I didn't have that attitude when I was first starting in the craft, that I'm just going to give up because nothing ever works for me. Because most of us, when we start anything, nothing really works for us. I remember when I first started playing the piano, I sucked at it when I was little. I just banged on the keys, basically. It took me a long time before I got any good at playing the piano. And I think what's going on with a lot of people is they don't understand magic as it is versus magic as it's portrayed in movies and in stories. The idea that if you can figure out the right kinds of ingredients or special words or something, that something is going to do something for you. And that's not what magic is. Magic is the science of the magi, and magic requires discipline and strength and practice and persistence, just like any art form. And yeah, you might not get results right away. And there's a lot of reasons why you might not get results right away. Everybody's different, but it's very common, not just in magic, but in anything. The first time, it's not so great. Can you imagine if you've never drawn before and you're like, I'm going to do a landscape using oil paint? Can you imagine what that's going to look like the first time you try it with no experience or with very little experience? Or you got a couple of little tidbits off of social media and then you say, I'll do a whole seascape. Let's do that. And you've never done it before. And you go out and buy all the paint and you put it on the canvas and it looks like what it looks like. And you say, this doesn't work. Be careful of that. Don't discount an art form just because you haven't been able to master it. And also don't cut yourself short by giving up on something that you find interesting just because you haven't found mastery in it, whether it's magic or anything. I remember the first time I was in a ballet class. I think I was about 14 years old. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is so hard. And I just kept at it, and I kept at it, and I kept at it. And probably about 8 years later, I started feeling like I was getting it, right? I was getting some sense of mastery over this. I was never going to be a professional dancer. I started too late in life to do that. But that didn't mean that I didn't get something out of it. Didn't mean that I didn't get some sort of benefit from it and some sort of mastery over it. But if I just gave up after that first class, I would have said ballet doesn't work for me. There's so many things like that. I can come up with list after list. But for some reason, people think magic is so different than any other discipline, any other art form, that somehow magic should just work. I should be able to twitch my nose. I should be able to just wave a wand. I should be able to throw some herbs, light a candle, and everything just bends to my will. Without any training, any practice, any discipline. Does that make sense? Of course not. So don't shortchange yourself and give up on yourself, not just in magic, but in any area of your life, if you're not getting the results that you want. Instead, let's look at troubleshooting it. Let's look at what you're doing. Possibly you haven't actually trained. Possibly you haven't done any of the necessary footwork to build your power base before you start trying to do these things. Magic is a mesmerizing force that has captivated human beings for centuries. It's got many forms, and magic does have the power to change your life. And it doesn't matter if you are part of a religion or not part of a religion. It doesn't matter if you call yourself a witch or a Christian or an atheist. It doesn't matter. The key is that you must tap into the source of your power directly, discipline your mind and your forces, and learn how to focus those forces very clearly in specific ways toward specific objectives, working within your sphere of influence, and slowly over time expanding that sphere of influence. Just like with any art form, if it was easy, everybody would do it. This girl came into an opera workshop, and she'd never had a voice lesson. I don't know how she got into the opera workshop. And she was complaining after the class that it's just going to be too hard. She couldn't make those sounds. And they just laughed at her, and they said, "Do you know how long we've been studying? Do you know how long we've been training for this? Of course it's not going to just happen for you. You really don't belong in this workshop. You need to go and find a voice teacher and learn the basics, build your voice, study the art form, and then come into an opera workshop. You're not ready for this." The same thing goes with any kind of art form, any kind of skill. So don't complain that magic doesn't work or that you're going to give up just because you weren't able to make it work at the level that you thought that it should work. Can you imagine going into a gym and seeing these professional bodybuilders lifting these amazing weights, and you'd never lifted a weight before, and you thought, I should be able to do that? And then you injure yourself, right? Trying to lift up all that weight. That doesn't make sense. Don't do that to yourself. Those of us in the craft already know that sometimes discouragement sets in with magic because the manifestations of our desires don't always come immediately. And this is where persistence comes in. If there's one guiding principle when it comes to magic, it's that you must remain persistent. You must always have the faith that your spell, or whatever you call it, prayer, operation, will come to fruition. But you also have to be willing to repeat it, to change it, to alter your goal, to accommodate what your particular abilities are at the moment. Not trying to go too far too fast, but still pushing yourself a little bit farther than what you were able to do recently. Always progressing. Persistence in magical training is more than just repeating the spell over and over again. It's persistence in your ability to strengthen your magical skills. Actually training yourself, actually practicing. We call it a magical practice. Just like the ballet dancer has to do their basic bar before they get into the center floor, you have to do your basic work every single day before you can expect your spells to have any kind of effect in your life. Why do we have to be persistent? Why can't we just twitch our nose? Why can't we just throw some herbs? Why can't we just light a candle? Why can't I just buy some magic oil and put it on my dollar bill and then expect the $1 million to show up in a basket on my doorstep? Why? The answer lies in how the universe responds to things. The universe responds based on where we are, not what our egos think we should have or should want. We get back from the universe what we put into something. That's not just with magic, that's with everything. You have to meet yourself where you are. You can't expect yourself to go farther than what is appropriate for you or what you think is possible for you. In fact, trying to do too big of a spell is so detrimental to your faith that we've always, as magical teachers, cautioned against such things because we know how delicate that faith is. Faith is one of those cornerstones of your pyramid of power. Faith, imagination, will, secrecy, and faith, you can't take that for granted. You can't just start expecting things that are beyond your abilities and then wonder why you don't have faith. You have to build that faith from the ground up. You have to nurture that faith. You have to work at it day by day by day. Starting small if you need to. Really small is sometimes a good thing, especially if you don't have any history at working magic. If you're new to this, now, I would recommend that you just take a training like my Witch's Primer. It's free. There's nothing to join. You're not going to be out any money, nor do you have to join an organization or a group. It's all just there for you. But what you have to do is you have to start from the beginning and do all the exercises, all the work, and get through that whole 18-week course to build up your power base so that you do have some muscle in the game. You do have some ability. You are able to make a difference. And it's not just lighting a candle arbitrarily or throwing some herbs or twitching your nose. It's important that no matter where you are in your magical journey, that you cultivate and maintain that idea of persistence. Think about that biblical story, even though a lot of witches don't like the Bible. In traditional witchcraft, the Bible is very commonly used, but in the modern witchcraft, that's not the case. But think about that one Bible story where Jacob wanted a blessing from the angel. It's the angel Samael, we believe. And he wrestled with the angel. I'm not going to let you go until you give me my blessing. That's simply a lesson in persistence. A witch doesn't just give up because it doesn't work the first time. You have to cultivate an attitude of, I will not take no for an answer. That's power. I may not get it all in one fell swoop. I may have to break this down into smaller chunks and get it one little step at a time, but I'm not giving up until I get what I want. That is a magical attitude. Packing up your toys and going home. That's not the attitude of a powerful magician or witch. And you're probably right. You probably should give up if that's the way that you're going to approach your craft. It's probably not for you. The craft is not easy. Magic is not supposed to be easy. It's not the easy way. And people, I think, are attracted to magic because they think it's the easy way. It's not the easy way. But it's the permanent way. It's the powerful way. It's the way to go beyond what you ever thought was possible. It is definitely the way to expand your sphere of influence and to have results that are far beyond what you thought was possible. But it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of commitment. And it takes a lot of practice. Practice. And if you're not getting the results you want, it's not because magic doesn't work. It's because you don't know how to work it. And that's okay too. You don't have to know how to work it, but you have to be willing to know that you don't know and want to change and want to approach it in a different way. That you have to have. And you have to have that I am not quitting until I get what I want attitude. And then you can start from scratch if you have to. You build that power base. Brick by brick. You build that pyramid of power, corner by corner. You build up your power. You start small if you have to, and you peg off goal after goal, each time expanding and expanding your sphere of influence more and more, slowly but surely, until you become a dynamo of power where nothing can stand in your way. And that does not come out of a can. So I'm sorry that it doesn't come out of a can, but it's the truth. And there's a lot of nonsense out there that's trying to get you to probably spend a little money on some products here and there that promises you instant witchcraft, and there is no such thing. So do yourself a huge service and stop trying to go beyond what you understand. Trying to stop going beyond results that you are capable of achieving yet. But that doesn't mean that you won't achieve them or that you can't achieve them. We want you to achieve those results. We do. And we want to help you achieve those results. We want to give each other support when we're not getting those results. And the way we do that is by showing you, take it slower, take it easier, build up your power, do it right, get the training, train yourself, practice, and you can make it happen. Yes, you can. Don't give up. You've got to learn the power of persistence. Remember, magic is a force that can transform your life. But persistence is a key ingredient in making magic work. And we don't necessarily mean persisting on the same spell over and over again that's not working. We mean persistence in building up your abilities, your power. Having a regular daily magical practice, starting smaller, finding results to build that faith, obtaining smaller results, and then expanding your sphere of influence little by little, snowballing into intense, immense power. Remember, persistence is what brings results in magic and everything else that's worthwhile in your life. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your craft. Do yourself a favor and stay with it. Stay persistent in working on yourself in whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is in your life that you want more of. You stay persistent. Don't give up. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.